German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announces Germany will halt all future arms exports to Israel that could be used in the Gaza Strip.
At least 3 people were injured in the Ukrainian cities of Kharkiv and Sumy overnight following Russian drone attacks. Viktor Orban called for peace talks between Russia and the EU on Ukraine, but said talks should be led by France and Germany instead of European institution leaders.
Berlin will suspend arms exports to Israel that could be used in the Gaza Strip, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced Friday. The move marks Germany's historically staunch supporter of Israel's clearest shift yet in response to Israel's military campaign. Merz said the decision came after Israel's Security Cabinet announced it would take over Gaza City. The decision impacts future arms exports and stops short of a full weapons embargo. Merz reiterated Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas, but criticized the humanitarian consequences of Israel's planned offensive. Germany is Israel's second largest arms supplier behind the United States and has so far hesitated to criticize or take concrete steps against its actions in the Gaza Strip.
At least 3 people were injured in the Ukrainian cities of Kharkiv and Sumy overnight following Russian drone attacks, according to local officials. Ukraine's State Emergency Service said they managed to contain a fire that broke out at a 4-story building in Kharkiv following the strikes. 2 people were injured there. Another strike hit a residential building in Sumy, injuring 1 person. The Defense Intelligence of Ukraine reported that Ukrainian attack drones struck several targets in Russian-occupied Crimea, including a landing craft, air defense base and several radar stations. These attacks came the day of a deadline set by the White House for Moscow to show progress towards ending their full-scale invasion of Ukraine or suffer additional economic sanctions. They also follow news that US President Donald Trump will reportedly meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, even if the Russian leader won't meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban called for direct peace talks between Russia and the EU on the war in Ukraine, so Europe would avoid being sidelined in shaping its own security. However, he said the meeting should not be led by European institution leaders, instead by French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Orban, a strong EU critic, said the bloc had fallen asleep and avoided direct talks with the Kremlin.
Szerintem, ha Európa saját maga kezébe akarja tartani a jövőjéről szóló döntéseket, akkor nem teheti meg, hogy sértett kisgyerekként, durcás kisgyerekként ül otthon és kígyót békát kiabál az oroszok elnökére, hanem úgy kell viselkedni, a diplomácia szabályai megkövetik.
The Hungarian leader said the summit should be held as soon as possible in a neutral country to ensure a dialogue. Brussels and Budapest have long been at odds over a range of issues, including Russia's war on Ukraine.
52 exceptionally rare lizards from the Aeolian Islands were hatched at the reptile house of Rome's Biopark Zoo as part of a conservation project aimed at preventing their extinction. Lizards from the islands are considered an endangered species classified among those at highest risk of extinction in the Mediterranean basin. The tiny reptiles born at Rome Zoo are only a few centimetres long and have to be cared for in a special nursery within a restricted access area of the reptile house. The zoo said they are not yet visible to the public as they need an environment that preserves their tranquility in order to grow. It said their hatching was an extraordinary event which took place in the framework of the European-funded project Life Eolizard, which aims at reducing the risk of extinction of endangered species. The program combines conservation in a controlled environment and in nature. The lizards will be introduced to the Sicilian archipelago next spring.